before we actually start 5-1, there's a few things I want, there's not a few things, there's just, I want to go over these 4 examples of using properties of exponents. All right. If you notice here, the square is on the outside of parentheses. All right. So that means you take the -3 and you multiply by itself 2 times. That's what it's telling me. So that gets me a +9. Here on this one, there's no parentheses. What that says is this. It says -3 times 3. In other words, we're just squaring the 3. And that's it. The negative stays there, so we get -9. All right, this one, you got -3 inside parentheses. That means we're going to do -3 times -3 times -3. That gives me a negative. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Here the 3 is not inside, so that means we got -3 times 3 times 3. So we write 3 times, and then we have the negative. So that gives me a -27. Now this is a special case. Even though there's parentheses and no parentheses, I still get the same answer. That's just a special case. All right? So what it means is when you're squaring, when you have an exponent, you have to see if there's parentheses. If there is parentheses, that means you got to take the sign and the number, multiply by itself that many times. If there's no parentheses, you keep the sign, and then you just take where the number is, you multiply that by itself the number of times, and you keep the same sign. All right, let's move on. All right, powers of negative numbers. All right. If the negative is in the parentheses, all right, so I'm showing a shortcut now on what we just did. If exponent is even, then the answer is positive. B, the exponent is odd, then the answer is negative. Okay. And then another one, if the negative is not in the parentheses, then the answer is negative. Okay? All right, so if we go back, what it says here, see, I have a negative inside parentheses. So that means it can either be positive or negative. All right? How do I determine? Is you look at the exponent. If it's odd, all right, then, or even. All right? So if it's negative, so I'll be even, so therefore I get a positive answer. All right? Again, let me say that again. I have parentheses, so the sign inside, all right, it's either going, if it's negative, your answer can still be positive or negative. All right, you have to look at the exponent. Exponent will determine that. If the exponent is even, then it's going to be positive. If the exponent is odd, it's going to be negative. And that only works if you have a negative inside the parenthesis. All right, let's practice some. All right, I'm going to do the stuff on the left. All right, so 2, there's no negative, so my answer is going to be positive. And 2 squared is 4. Here, there's no sign, so that means it's going to be positive. So 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Now here, I have a negative, but it's not in parentheses. All right, so that means my answer is going to be negative. And then 2 squared is 4. All right, the next one. Now I have a negative inside parentheses, so that means I have to look at the exponent. It's 3, that means odd, so that means my answer is going to be negative. And then 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Number 5. All right, I have a negative inside the parentheses, so now we have to look at the exponent. It's even. So that means my answer is going to be positive. All right, and 2 squared is 4. So I get positive 4 as an answer. All right, what I want you to do now is go ahead and do 6 through 10. All right, pause it, do 6 through 10, and then hit play, and then check your answers with mine. All right, for number 6, I have a negative. There's no parentheses, so my answer is going to be negative. And then 2 cubed is 8, so you should get negative 8. 4, all right, there's no signs. That means my answer is going to be positive, and 4 cubed is what? So, all right, so we got 4 times 4 times 4 gives me 64. So I get positive 64. Right, here I have a negative on the, there's no parentheses, so my answer is going to be negative. 3 to the 4th, that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. All right, so let's do 3 caret key to the 4th, and that gives me 81. So my answer is negative 81. All right, here I have a negative inside the parentheses. My exponent is odd, so my answer is going to be negative. Now all we need to do now is 2 to the 5th. So let's do 2 caret key 5, and we get 32. And the last one, I have a negative on the inside. All right, the exponent is even, so my answer is going to be positive. So now I got 3/4. I got to square it twice. So that's 3/4 times 3/4. Or in other words, that's 3 squared over 4 squared, which is 9 over 16. Okay.